Hello, and welcome to another painting tutorial. In this video, I'm going to show you the basic technique of shade washing. Here we have our goblin spearmen that we applied all our base coats in our last video. Now we're going to do the technique of shade washing. And what that is, using paint that is heavily pigmented but also very thinned down, and we're going to liberally wash the model, and the paint will settle in all the recesses and crevices and give you instant shading. Here I have a selection of colors I'm going to use. For the skin tone, I'm going to use Citadel shade, Athonian Camo shade. And then for the rest of the colors, I'm going to do an Agrax earth shade, which is a dark brown. And then for the deep shadows, I'm going to spot wash in certain areas the Druchii violet. It's a purple tone. So make sure your washes are thoroughly shaped and mixed up. And we're going to use a small, medium-sized brush. Make sure I have a nice tip, and you just apply it just like a base coat over the model. This is what they call spot washing, so you're only painting certain areas of the wash. You want to make sure you don't get a heavy collection of it in the deep crevices, like right here in his arm. Nice smooth application over the whole model. You don't want a whole lot of the wash on your brush. As you see, I'm wiping some of it off on the side of the pot or on my paper towel. Because if you have too much, and then once you touch the model, it'll just spread all over and get into areas that you don't want. For the spot washing, you want the wash in certain areas. When you do an all-over wash, which we'll do in just a minute with the brown, it will go all over. So now this just tints the color, makes it a little bit darker. Make sure you apply the wash in between the fingers, toes if they have them. Now you don't want to go back over an area when it's drying, because you can pull up the wash with your brush and leave patchy, spotchy marks. Depending on how thick you apply the shade determines how long it takes to dry. You need a little bit more drying time than your base coats. So now that we got that wash, I'm going to leave it alone and work on some other areas while that dries. Now we're going to do the Agrax earth shade everywhere else. You can also use a hair dryer on low setting to speed up the process. As long as you have good brush control and avoid those areas, you should be fine. Now this brown wash leaves a nice dirty effect, which is perfect for goblins and for old ancient armor on skeletons, things like that. Weathered wood, the spear. Nice thin layer. Then once it's dry, if you want it darkened, just do another layer over it, which I'm going to do on the metal to make it look real rusted. Not taken care of. I doubt goblins take pride in their armor. Sure, they just sharpen the tip on random rocks before they go into battle. Get a nice sharp pointy end to stick into the enemy. Use the hairdryer to dry it up to speed up the drying a bit. Now also, when you're applying washes, you want to make sure that you apply your wash everywhere that you want in one go. Meaning, do the whole area at once and then and then let it dry and then come back and do another layer. Don't do like partial, where I want the whole area brown, but I'm only going to paint this area part way and then come back to it after it dries. That will leave a ring of where you have it dry and then where you apply the new wash. So you want to make sure that you apply the wash all at once. Don't stop in between the application. Defined area on his face. So here, we're just going to do it around his eyes. Give him a bit of color. And his eyes and his nose, his lips. Like in the middle, to give it a darker, dirtier look. Over the leather. Apply more in the recesses of the tunic, just to give it some more shadow. Underneath everything, get a darker shading. Now I can also apply this in his eye sockets to make them really deep in shadow. Just make them really grungy and dirty. See right there, it started the pool, so I just pulled it out, the excess out. Now I'm going to give this a full, let it dry, a good 15-20 minutes should do it. Or if you want, you can speed it up with hairdryer. Just like with painting, make sure you clean your brush really good, because of the watered down consistency of the shades. You still don't want it to go past the halfway mark and get into your ferrule. So you want to make sure that you're cleaning that really good. Alright, so we'll let him dry, and then he'll be ready for our next technique, which will be layering. Thank you, and happy painting.